In this presentation, we're going to be talking about building a future in construction. And some of the things we will be talking about is how someone can enter into the construction industry and be able to develop a career in multiple different areas in construction. So again, this really first portion is talking about the overview of construction industry. Objectives of this section, once we complete it, we should be able to describe the construction industry by defining the construction and summarizing the current and future outlooks for jobs, and should be able to identify some of the construction more prominent contributions in the history of construction. Um, there's no performance task for this section. And next, we're going to go into some terms that we should go through. And to let you know, there will be a quiz on the materials and the terms within this section. Craft or trade is really just talking about the different type of specialties, careers in the construction industry. For example, trade can be a plumber or a roofer or a carpenter, or electrician, or a mason. All those are different trades or craftspeople. And really, when they speak about craft professionals, they're really talking about the experts. And another term they would use is journeyman. A journeyman. Journeyman is usually a craft person who gain the skills and talents to be able to work in the trades. In other words, they went to school and they got hands-on experience of practicing their skills. Infrastructure is anything that holding something together. In other words, the highways, the bridges, the things that support something. It says that transportation, water, electrical, telecommunication systems that allow communities to and countries to operate. So all those infrastructure can be in Northwest Indiana can be NIPSCO, which is both our gas utility and electric utility. But bridges, highways, streets and things is also the sewer systems is the infrastructure. It what holds things together. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration is an agency through the Department of Labor, and its whole purpose is to develop and set standards for, and also not just set standards, but to mandate and evaluate safety on jobs. Sustainability is to be able to maintain, to repeat. It says here the practice of minimizing negative impacts to the earth, climate, and natural environment. In other words, something that can be sustained, something that can be continued on in a safe way. Green construction is basically something that basically is like sustainability, but green construction is building a building by using safe products, being able to restore the products. In other words, some things that can be reused over and over again we consider green technology. It says here, construction practice that involve the creation of structures that adhere to sustainability practices and principles. Again, um, getting sustainability. Where do you order your supplies from? If it's come from a different state that may be far away, that they're spending resources like trucks and things to get it here, or can we order something locally where we are being very sustainable or saving at least transportation, buying products that is manufactured nearby. All that is part of green technology. Personal protection equipment, we call it PPE. It's basically like safety glasses, ear protection, gloves, steel tool work boots, anything that can protect you. One of the most important things about PPE is that it is something that we use to help us to have a safe livelihood. So, in other words, we use these things, knee pads, to protect our knees from bending down, learning how to use things properly that that it will be safe. So PPE is something that we will learn a lot about in this course. Computer aid design, it's the old drafting system, or let's just say it's new drafting now. We call it more today CAD, CAD, for computer aid drafting, but it's also computer aid drafting and design. But it's using computers to make sketches and blueprints. Well, I guess you don't call it blueprints anymore because it's not blue, but making prints, construction prints for jobs. Building information modeling. That is something new, or fairly new, and it's using computers to make a three-dimensional type of drawings where you can see things more clearly instead of looking at things in two-dimension or single dimension. We can see it three-dimensional. The reason why they do that, you can find problems with a construction job before the job is actually completed or even started, because let's say a plumber and an electrician and the HVAC need to put their equipment there, but on a piece of paper, it may not show that it may obstruct one of the different trades. So we can make a 3D model on paper and be able to visualize what it will look like. That ties into virtual reality, VR, which is part of that building information modeling, where you use 3D models to construct the sites and being able to see things. And here's one thing about virtual reality, you'll be able to walk through it. The building information modeling is basically a drawing that is three-dimensional, but it's just something you can look at. But virtual reality is something that you can actually walk through and be part of, which is a nice way to not to find problems, but to see how practical the job is in this project. So what is construction? Construction is a thriving industry that is both an art and a science. The reason why they say that, every time they build a building, yes, they have prints, they put it on paper. However, throughout their job in the construction, there's always changes been made to improve things, to find things. That's why the building information modeling is becoming so popular today, because it allows the experts to be able to see things. So again, the art. So it takes a lot of experience for someone to see problems before it become a problem. So again, just having experience under your belt makes all the difference in the world in construction industry. But the science is the part that when we measure things, we use certain tools and systems and equipment to be able to follow very strict procedures how to do things correctly. See, we can come up with a way to do something, but it doesn't mean that it's the right way. So, and what I'm saying is that we can actually do things very efficiently and quickly, instead of trying to learn how to do something and doing it incorrectly and spending too much time. So going through a training program, going through an apprenticeship program can help develop those skills that craft professionals need. So the construction market is steadily growing. And just to let you know, in the near future, will be tens of thousands of jobs in a very short time that is needed to fulfill the need for this industry. And I'm saying in the very near future, we have a lot of construction coming to this area, Lake County. So we need to have highly trained, skilled craftsmen to work in this industry.
How can you tell if someone is qualified? You can't see it on their face. You can't tell by their clothes. But you can know what a person is made of by their credentials.
I was working 3 part-time jobs and barely scraping by.
I saw a lot of my friends starting new careers, but I just couldn't seem to find my thing.
I wanted more for myself and more for my daughter.
I had a job, but I wanted something better.
My son just wasn't interested in school.
I was trying. I did all the homework,
but didn't seem to make the grade.
I don't know if he didn't really care or if he just hadn't found something that really clicked.
I felt like a failure.
He was more than capable. He's always been good with his hands, and he's a hard worker. The school shop teacher lives down the street, so I asked him if he could just have a talk with him.
Yeah, I thought about going back to school, but I didn't think I could afford it. And then one day, I saw this flyer for welding classes at the community college. As soon as I saw the starting salary, I was sold.
I ran into an old friend of mine and he told me that he was working construction. He said that he got to travel and work with his hands and the pay was pretty good. So I thought, maybe I should work construction.
I never thought I would have much of a future until I talked to Mr. Dean. He said that if I took his shop class, I would receive the credentials that could land me a real job when I graduate.
I went for it. I got trained, I received my card, and I started my career.
I went back to school and learned valuable skills that made me employable.
I never thought I would say this, but I actually love going to work every day.
And best of all, it earned me my card.
In my line of work, I don't have the time or the money to hire people who can't perform at the same level. I need to be able to rely on my crews and the skills that they bring to the job. That's why I demand this card.
When you have this card,
it puts you in the game.
You'll be able to work alongside the best in the world.
And meet the high demand for skilled workers in the construction industry.
Get motivated.
Get trained.
And get your card.
Credentials matter.
Get your credentials and get in the game. Visit nccer.org to learn more.
Well, just to finish this career can be a life-changing career for you because you would learn something that you can use that is very practical. So as we look at common construction industry myths, and here's some myths. Construction is not for women, and absolutely more and more women are coming into this industry. And I'm actually looking forward to it because for some that can make a really decent salary, that they can make jobs that they typically maybe haven't thought about, but in the construction industry, it is really needed. It says that women makes about 10% of the construction industry and earn 99% for every 99 cents for every dollar a man earns compared to other type jobs. Here's another myth. Construction does not use technology, and that's absolutely not true. There's a lot of technology behind it, and it's getting more and more advanced, using lasers, using other things that is pretty high tech. Of course, using computers and calculators. They got calculators that is designed strictly for the construction industry. They're going to help you figure out angles and degrees and figuring out inches and things and multiplying things that you have to maybe work on a piece of paper. Here's another myth. Construction is bad for the environment. That's why we call it green technology or green construction, because it's becoming more and more sustainable. And for example, we see these solar panels, instead of using power plants that use burning coal or natural gas, which putting carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, this is really a clean construction. And electricians are more and more are using, and companies are using solar panels because it's almost maintenance free, because like windmills can generate power, but it takes a lot of maintenance, A solar panel would last for multiple years, and it can actually have a very long lifespan, and without physically any maintenance. The history of construction is thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. It goes back from the beginning. Here's something, the Great Wall of China is one of the great marvels. It took years to build it, of course, but it took a lot of people using stone and things to build a wall to as a barrier to keep other nations out. But here's another, the pyramids in Egypt and other great things. And today, of course, now we got these high-rise office buildings all over the world. Of course, we used to, in Chicago, that's nearby here, used to be bragging on the largest building in the world, which is not any longer. But just knowing that using science and using technology can really go a long distance. And today, of course, using all the different infrastructure like sewer lines to get rid of waste. Years ago, they didn't have that. They just put waste in the streets and had street cleaners that would try to get rid of things and bury it. But today, we can easily live a life that's very comfortable to us, but complex at the same time. Complex because it takes technology. Famous construction examples. He says many iconic structures require skilled professionals in the construction industry to build them, such as the Eiffel Tower. Matter of fact, if you ever read about the architect, last name was Alpha, and he, like I say, we came up with this. There was a contest basically to build the Eiffel Tower and some type of structure, and it was for a World Fair, and they tried to get it done before the World Fair. Empire State Building was another one, and many other ones. The one in Dubai, the tallest building in the world, that just a large, huge building that just scours any and towers any other building around it. The importance of construction innovations and inventions. Here's one thing, the personal protection equipment, PPEs, equipment that makes our job and our career safer. And here's the thing, there's a lot of issues over the years, people hurting themselves and losing fingers and toes or dying on jobs because there wasn't no type of safety, especially in the 1800s, the 1700s to 1800s, before safety became a main concern, that people did what they had to do, and because of different organizations and like OSHA that look at how we should work, and they put mandates that require that all construction industry and trades use and perform and are required to use safety procedures. Computer aid drafting. Before designs, everything was done by hand. They had rooms of just draftsmen. They were using paper and pencils and doing the drawings for buildings. And yes, that was a huge career, and a lot of ones who, because to get jobs done, it took multiple people to be able to get the drawings done. Now they could be done very quickly with a computer to that they can draw things faster and be able to print things out. Before, to make a copy, somebody had to either draw another copy or run it through a machine, but now we can print as many as we like electronically. Building information modeling is software that reads computer files contained in information to get virtual pictures of a construction of a facility before it's actually built. Again, like I said earlier, it's something that can help find issues before they become a problem. Virtual reality allows people to envision the final product by immersing themselves in it. So in other words, you can walk through a project, go through room to room through virtual reality before it is actually completed or even started. Let's go through some questions. After you're studying and reading and going through things, this question, you should be able to answer this question. It says, all of these are examples of technology used in construction itself. What? And it's pretty simple. If you read through it, you should have the answer. Tasers would be the answer. Construction practices that involve the creation of structures that adhere to sustainability principles is called blank. We talked about that in the very beginning of this presentation, and that would be green technology. The construction industry had its beginnings in medieval Europe. Is that true or false? Well, it started well before the medieval. It goes back thousands of years before the medieval time. So that's false. The longest suspension bridge in the world is the blank. Now, of course, that would be from your reading. And a suspension bridge is a bridge that is supported and have usually cables or something to help hold the streets, the bridge up. So a suspension bridge is suspended over a body of water or open lands mass. And believe it or not, it is actually the Golden Gate Bridge. Blank objects represent many dimensions of construction, such as time, cost, operation, and safety to stimulate the construction process. And the answer to that is that 3D modeling we're talking about. So the answer is BIM. All right, this is the end of this this module, this section of this module.